What are the options for making documents more understandable? I'll be discussing the three types of presentation of information in terms of literacy level and understandability. The first is plain language or plain English. The second is easy read, and the third is easy English. The main differences between these three types of document is in terms of complexity of grammar, vocabulary and layout, and therefore the literacy level required to understand them. 1. Plain language, or plain English, which can make it confusing, is commonly recommended and used, and it is the easy document format referred to in most government guidelines at this stage, including WCAG. It is effective for the average 14 to 15-year-old or Year 9 level reader. It uses sentences that can be about 25 words long. It includes information that the reader needs to know and also includes some nice-to-know information, such as statistics and background information, because someone at a school Year 9 level of literacy or Level 3 PAC literacy level should be able to interpret the information and to distinguish and rank the information in terms of importance. So basically, plain language makes written information clear for the general population. This is the level that would suit about 56% of the adult Australian population who have functional or better literacy skills, who have the literacy skills to manage a range of day-to-day reading tasks. It may be useful for people at higher than Level 3 who are not familiar with the concepts and jargon in a document, and people who are time poor and want to read the main points quickly. When we consider Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or WCAG, criterion 3.1.5 reading level for a AAA rating, it states that when text requires reading ability more advanced than the lower secondary education level after removal of proper names and titles, then supplemental content or a version that does not require reading ability more advanced than the lower secondary education level is available. It is acknowledged that it will not be possible to write a text that will suit the abilities of all people with literacy and comprehension problems, that it is highly desirable to use the clearest and simplest language appropriate. This brings us to easy read and easy English. As I said before, plain language will suit about 56% of the population. This leaves us with 44% of Australians who don't have literacy skills sufficient to understand at a Year 9 level. So we then have the second type of document presentation, easy read. It is mostly used in the UK, US and Scandinavia, where there is some consistency in terms of the presentation of the documents. There are organisations in Australia that produce documents in easy read, such as the Information Access Group. Basically, they tend to use sentences up to about 15 to 20 words long, and there tends to be some reasonably high grammatical complexity in the sentences used. For example, using a high proportion of if clauses. There also tends to be some inconsistency in layout, for example, headings at the left margin of the page with the other text indented to allow images. Images are used alongside the text, sometimes to the left, sometimes to the right, and there may be use of coloured borders. There seems to be a fairly standard logo, which is a solid coloured circle, usually blue or black, overlaid by a white tick, the words easy read, and a blank open book. My view is that easy read is more like plain language with images. It might be most useful for some of the 30% of Australians who can read at Level 2, where they may be able to paraphrase and make low-level inferences and distinguish some unnecessary information. They may be able to navigate within digital texts to access or identify information, but their literacy may still not be functional to use it in their day-to-day lives or to fully understand text at a higher level. So we now move to the third type, easy English. I'm showing here 3 different logos, and that's because there is less standardisation between Easy English documents. So organisations will often have their own Easy English logo on the front of their document. As I've mentioned already, there is no real agreed upon definition or standard for Easy English. But there are some grammar and formatting rules or guidelines. It is presented as a supplementary document with reference to the original document, and most people who need Easy English will need it as a physical double-sided hard copy. This slide covers the key distinguishing features of Easy English. The first is that Easy English uses images that are directly related to the adjacent text. Short, sharp, to-the-point sentences, 1 idea per sentence, and 5 to 8 words per sentence. Familiar everyday words that anyone sees or hears every day. Lots of white space, which equals thinking space. Consistency in layout, keeping the same structure, including spacing throughout the document. Include only need-to-know information versus nice-to-know information, keeping it to the point. And reference to the original document so that a shared reader can relate back to it to fill in more details if required. These are features and techniques acknowledged by the WCAG working group as future links and that aren't required or sufficient for the success criteria, but may help. I want to add that they shouldn't be considered as not required, that they are essential for greater access by more people. So just going back to the graph that is in the previous set of slides. The Government Digital Content Guide and other guides specify to direct language to a grade 8 level. They tend to be referring to plain language, which is at level 3 here. There may be some readers at level 2 who might be able to understand with help. Most Easy Read documents use longer sentences, more complex sentences than Easy English, and so would probably be suited for good readers at level 2. The Disability Framework for Action 2013 to 2017, Tasmania, for example, promotes the provision of information in accessible formats, including Easy Read versions of state government publications. So if we take Easy Read to be plain language with images, they may be acceptable by the government recommendations. But Easy English goes that step further to address more the level 1 and below readers.